Welcome back to a mesmerizing mashup of molten, momentous, monumental, mortifying mishaps as I attempt to magnificently move your many modern, motionless, muddy moods with my story. I don't know. And also, superstitiously strike the strategically situated like button and magnanimously mash the much maligned mask of the subscribe button. Hey, welcome back. I thought I'd try something a little different. I don't know, just driving here to this morning. I thought I'd try something a little different, a little bit more dramatic. Try to, I mean, it's totally, V for Vendetta, but I have a new story to share with y'all. I'm very excited again to release another story to you. This is the story, if you've watched the other videos, that I thought I had lost, but I found. It's called Lights and Shadows, and I wrote this a couple years ago, so it's probably a different style than Ribbit Cat that I just released, but links in the description to my blog. I'd love for you to, just pause the video, go over and read the story, and then come back, hopefully. But yeah, go ahead and read Lights and Shadows and tell me what you think. Lights and Shadows, it was heavily inspired by a book I read back in high school, but I cannot remember the name or the author of the book. It was a pretty long time ago. I just remember thinking about this book when I was writing this. A guy wakes up in a world that looks like his own, but there's absolutely no one there, and he starts being chased by these monsters without faces. I think the book said that they looked like human, but they didn't have faces. I can't remember exactly because it's been so long, and I can't remember the name of the book. But he meets, I think, 2 or 3 other people like him in this desolate world, and the monsters are chasing all of them. I think it ends on a lake somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Spoilers for the very end of the book. The guy had been in a terrible accident and was dying. And so this is like a near-death experience for him. And so that's kind of some of the inspiration that I had writing this story, Lights and Shadows. But for the end of Lights and Shadows, I had the same kind of premise. It was a near-death experience. He had been in a terrible car crash. But I thought that was too a cliche. So I took that kind of epilogue. It was only like 3 lines at the end of the book, so it doesn't really put much weight onto it. I did a different kind of separate epilogue for it, where he woke up and it was a dream, and I think I alluded to the fact that it could have been real in some way, like he could have actually been transported to this other place. I don't remember exactly what I wrote. I couldn't find that one. I think this is one of those stories that I just had to get out of me and write it down. I don't really know what I wanted to accomplish with the story. Just in hindsight, trying to think back on what I liked to write, what I liked to read. There's not really big action sequences or like a fantastic world. I mean, there's kind of a fantastic world. Not fantastic, it's a scary world, but I'm not sure. I guess I wanted to experiment with like a darker tone for the story back then. Maybe I wanted to see what I could write as far as a horror story. I'm not sure. I don't really like horror for the sake of fear. And so that's why the story, it's not a hopeless ending. What I wrote down when I was writing the script, I think I said, but for the sake of hope in the face of such fears. That's the only reason that I would really use horror, is to give a hope or to give an escape from these horrible things that are happening. Yeah, this is a little harder to try to process and think through. Maybe I should have written. It's not a word. I should have written more things down to try to. I should have taken more time to script this part out. Yeah, I don't think I'll probably come back to this kind of this direction of story or this world. I recently wrote a story kind of like this. It was only like 3 paragraphs long, I think. I don't know. Like, this story, it feels kind of too on the nose. I presented the story in a creative writing class. I remember back in college. I guess the allegory part of it was everybody picked up on it. I thought I had done it more subtly. Let me know what you thought about this story down below. Positive, negative.